Welches Loch?
Und das sag ich Ihnen nicht.
Im Namen Jesu.
Nein!
Nein! Des Vaters und des Sohnes und des
Ja, deshalb noch ohne dich!
Stand am Jahre. Ja, das ist Familie.
Ihr könnt gar nicht machen.
Born September 21st, 1952, Anneliese Michelle would go on to do something so terrifying, it would not only spark the idea for a feature film, but be the cause of many people's nightmares. For the past week, I have been doing hours upon hours of research to determine the question: was Anneliese Michelle actually possessed, or was she actually insane? This horrifying story starts in Klingenberg, Germany, 1952, when Anneliese Michelle was born. Anneliese was raised as a strict Catholic and was described as very bright and likable. In 1968, Anneliese had her first episode. She lost consciousness and later described that it felt like something was pressing down on her chest. She was 16 years old. In 1969, she had her second episode and was then taken to a doctor. Although running multiple tests, the doctor found nothing wrong with her. This led to Anneliese's doctor and a neurologist to think it could possibly be a form of seizures. Anneliese would go on to have two more episodes, one in 1970 and another in 1972. She would go on to be prescribed 2 medications to hopefully stop these episodes. 1 year later, in 1973, things would go horribly wrong. In 1973, Anneliese would report hearing knocking sounds, and even reported hearing a voice damning her to hell. Things started getting really upsetting when Anneliese's mother walked into her bedroom and saw Anneliese intensely staring at a statue of the Virgin Mary with, quote, her eyes turned jet black. Anneliese also reported seeing terrifying demon faces and said she felt like, quote, the devil was inside of her, end quote. She also reported smelling burnt feces. During this time, Anneliese was diagnosed with epileptic patterns and was prescribed a much stronger medication than what she had been on previously. Skipping forward to 1975, Anneliese got much worse. She barely slept. She started eating spiders and flies, and she also licked her own urine up off of the floor. People described her strength during this time as superhuman. An exorcism was approved for Anneliese by the bishop and was to be carried out by a priest named Father Renz. September 24th, 1975, the first exorcism was performed. The first exorcism was unsuccessful, and by the next year, things were the worst they had ever been, and the worst they were ever going to be. Her family had to start tying her up so that she wouldn't bang her head against the wall. Anneliese stopped eating and said that she, quote, wasn't permitted to eat, end quote. At this point, she weighed under 80 pounds, but somehow still had great strength. June 30th, 1976, Anneliese had yet another exorcism. It was unsuccessful, and the next morning they found Anneliese dead in her bedroom. Whether Anneliese was actually possessed by a demon or just had mental issues has remained a question ever since her death. Now that you know the story, let me know in the comment section below. Was Anneliese Michelle actually possessed or actually insane?